any of those typical lanes that suddenly get choked down into a small bridge corridor, that is a mosh pit, any AoE of the like dream area in that kind of skirmishing kind of capabilities there.
Dragonshire and Sky Temple, the two most notable ones. Bottom Sky Temple, top Dragonshire, you never want to be there.
Never want to be there. Figuring out if we're going to have another death bridge for game number 4 here. As again, HeroesHearth Esports find themselves down 1 game against Octalysis, and Octalysis 1 game away from finding themselves at the midseason brawl next to Tempo Storm. We're going to Cursed Hollow.
Probably the least played map in HGC, or near the top when you look at Braxis and Volskaya. We'll talk about those. But then we look at Cursed Hollow. Cursed Hollow is probably the most banned map against Octalysis because they've come up with unique strategies. I still remember their Rhaegar Greymane early this year. They're 3-0 on this battleground. They haven't had an opportunity to play it much because teams ban it out. I mean, do you have any insight into why teams ban out Cursed Hollow against a team like Octalysis?
I mean, they are just very good at manipulating the macro pressure through that map. I remember even back at Western Clash, they were completely outclassing European teams even at this map in particular. They're very good at their macro mechanics, at knowing when to take bosses, when to push on the other side of the map.
Genji and Hanzo on this battleground team is very scary for HeroesHearth. I wonder if they'll be willing to first pick a Hanzo or hope that they get it on the second side. And then on the other side, Genji. We've seen a lot of really good Genji play from both teams, but Cure on this battleground, I feel, has a lot of potential. So something that I'm very curious on how these teams are going to respond.
Outside of the Medivh and Maiev ban that are likely to happen here, a lot of key picks on Cursed Hollow. One of them is the Abathur. And at this point, I wonder, as HeroesHearth, you've practiced a solo support Abathur for so long. Do you have another player? Are you willing to play it with a support? And at the same time, Hanzo with the boss cheese can never be underestimated. So, gotta see what they go with here.
There's the Tyrael again. I really wonder if Hanzo's not available if we get a Greymane. Greymane actually, he sits below 50% overall, but on Cursed Hollow in particular, has over a 60% win rate in more than 20 to 30 games, I think. I'd have to double check that. But he's very strong, it seems like, on this battleground. And again, when it comes to manipulating rotations, one of the things that they did is you can use that. You force a response somewhere. The Greymane, again, the same way we talked about it in Tomb. When he gets on structures, he gets through it. Also does really good in the boss race and mercenary camp. So I think all around, he is something to be considered here.
Yeah, and not to mention, Bainsky is a very good Greymane player, probably one of his favorite heroes as well. Going with the Tyrael first pick, though, it looks like HeroesHearth is threatening to go with the same style of strategy. Tyrael is, of course, very strong around boss points as well, immediately granting pretty much control of any boss fight that will happen in this game.
Find out what the 1-2 here for Octalysis is going to be. Hanzo going to be a part of it, and then a Sonya to be able to back that one up. Interesting Sonya priority here from them.
But taking away that Hanzo, not getting into the 2-3 spot here on the side of HeroesHearth. So clearly Octalysis playing around that. Hanzo, scatter arrow build, lots of terrain to bounce that off of. Also the boss control as well for early bosses and quick bosses. So I think a power play for Octalysis. I mean, HeroesHearth clearly has something up their sleeve because this is game number 2 with Tyrael first pick.
Is that Sonya a Genji deterrent as well?
To a certain extent, it definitely is. We saw the last game, you know, one Sonya Spear was all it took to chunk out 70% of a Genji Abathur's life, and it might have saved them from losing a game, that one Spear, because McIntyre was on the verge of resetting on their entire team in the last fight there. But on top of that, Sonya is also really good in combination with the Tyrael, so it's a deny pick as well.
I've heard live by the sword, die by the sword. I mean, I know that's probably a metaphor for another time, but I really feel like it might be here.
It may be. Still sticking to it so far here with the 1-2-3 for HeroesHearth Esports as what we saw from them on Sky Temple. But Octalysis had their number. When everything is on the line here, the starting from Open Division, climbing the miracle fairy tale story for HeroesHearth Esports, and when everything is on the line, one game away from possibly all those dreams being wiped away of midseason brawls, still sticking to the Abathur Tyrael Genji. Talk about some faith here behind this comp.
I will say that up until that point on the bridge, it seemed, and there was the one mosh at the bottom, but they recovered on around the boss. I still feel like HeroesHearth was actually winning that game. And so maybe they're just like, look, we threw on that bridge. We overcommitted. We stayed way too long in that bot lane.
Well, Team Octalysis are alternating the ban phase up here. They realized that HeroesHearth Esports last game, it was non-stop, double Arthas in the front line, buy as much space as you can. You can never get through this Arthas, so they decided to get rid of it. It's a good ban if HeroesHearth is going for the solo support Abathur strategy once again. And I kind of want to see Team Octalysis do what they did last game. Focus on Crowan in particular. In this composition, it did not look like he was very comfortable with the Cassia pick. I mentioned this before, but the only time Team Octalysis won the fight was when they got a mosh on the ranged carry who is your only mosh interrupt. That just absolutely cannot happen in my opinion. So if they do go with this composition again, I'm interested in seeing what hero they put Crowan on. Hanzo is already denied, obviously.
ETC, you know, Arthas was the second after the second ban. ETC was after the second ban. Like, nah. I'll take that back. ETC was before the second ban last game.
I will say, if I'm Team Octalysis, there is a world where if HeroesHearth Esports, and I still have the option to do this in my last slot here, pick a primary warrior and my support in this rotation, and then flex that last pick. If they commit to the solo Abathur into, I'm going to say a wild composition here, but an Illidan, even though you already have the Sonya on your side, get the front wall pressure, get a lot of damage into it. Abathur compositions are really hard at trying to kill an Illidan, even though he's not very common within this meta. And with the Abathur Arthas, or excuse me, already banned out, it's a map and a strategy I would like to see. But still a couple of things that have to happen in this case in time, and still there's other ways to be able to dismantle this from HeroesHearth.
Things are just so interesting for me. Diablo makes that, I think, a little bit more difficult. Dahaka makes that a little bit more difficult.
Once again, going with the double melee composition, this is pretty strong into the solo support Abathur because you make your second quote-unquote ranged hero slot very hard to kill because it becomes that Sonya. And then on top of that, Sonya is not very good at surviving when he has to be your solo laner soaking the off lane. Against the Genji Abathur, he cannot rotate safely, and he cannot soak aggressively. But Dahaka and Blaze, these tanky heroes, can easily do that.
Are we getting supportless again? We're going to find out soon. This is just HeroesHearth going all in. Oh, man. I don't know how I even feel about...
I'm torn, too. I have no idea. I don't know if I want them to do it. I can't tell if I'm like, ooh, after that lot, is everything... I will say that this is a moment that absolutely, from a competitor standpoint, that I feel like a lot of people struggle with mentally, where it's, do you pick your last picks to go with what you've practiced, with what you know, versus what you think will work according to that, series meta itself. We get a Li Ming and a Blaze as the selection here for HeroesHearth Esports. Solo support Abathur it is.
This is wild.
Yeah.
The Li Ming I did not see.
Triple reset, boys.
It is a hero that Crowan is very good on. He made his name on it originally here, but I'm more worried about the Genji factor. Genji Abathur was carrying so many of the fights last game, and this time I think Team Octalysis is a lot better equipped to deal with it. Diablo, he's just really good against Genji. You click him, he dies.
And on this map in particular, it's going to be very difficult to keep them alive. You have a couple of those safety nets in the bunker and the sanctification, but I mean, Genji does not last long when that happens, especially late game 13-16.
Support pick now for Octalysis. Still going to be that Karazim.
If HeroesHearth pulls this off and sends us to a game 5, I mean, I don't even know what to expect at that point. This is beyond wild for things that you would expect coming into today. Like, all right, maybe you get it if it's something weird like Braxis, but to run this now 2 games in a row, 1 on Sky Temple, 1 on Curse, all the chips are on the table here. It's like, we're on this. This is it.
I'm at a loss for words, honestly. The fact that HeroesHearth has been, I feel like, out of all the teams in North America with the success that they have had as of late, they've been sticking to what their style is, right? For the most part, their synergistic compositions, but they haven't been that off meta for how, you know, synergistic they've been with things like with, you know, prioritizing around the Hanzo and being that kind of all in that area. But then once they move away from that, a little bit of Abathur here and there kind of comes up, but it felt like it was more like a playing with their food. But obviously they're showing that's not the case, because this is the most important game that these guys have played, and they're still willing to commit to that playstyle.
They believe in it. They're going to see if it works here. Game number 4 underway. Heroes Hearth here on the left in blue, down in the series 2-1. They lose this game, they are out. If they win, we send this off to a game number 5. Octalysis, hoping it's the former.
So what do we expect when it comes to laning here? I mean, obviously a Blaze off on the off lane would be a smart, probably beginning to this composition, but from beyond that point, it's all about skirmishes and rotations for the members of HeroesHearth Esports. They don't have anyone who is an effective laner outside of the Blaze, whereas Octalysis have Sonya, Dahaka, amazing. A pretty effective tri-lane between the Diablo Hanzo if they would like. Looks like they're going to keep Diablo up in the mid lane, and then question where the Hanzo Karazim want to go depending on the response from HeroesHearth Esports.
I mean, keep in mind that Li Ming's even going power hungry. I mean, they are all in. Sometimes we'll see Force Armor. There's not a lot of spell damage. Obviously, Scatter Arrow could hurt, but Force Armor is not a thing. Power hungry. Get that Globe, get that bonus spell power, get that damage in. As Arthon eating a bit of damage here from Buds on that Karazim, and then following up that is going to be Cure on the Sonya.
So we see this response from HeroesHearth. They have to pretty much be reactionary towards Octalysis, so Octalysis is the one kind of volunteering for this laning setup. I will say I'm still a little surprised in the fact that they're going to volunteer the Diablo over the mid lane compared to, you know, something like the Sonya, just purely, or the tri-lane is on the top lane and the Sonya is not on a solo just because the wave clear capabilities of that Sonya, but that may reflect towards that Genji Abathur kill potential that you heard Fan talking about before. Octalysis spend the downtime back out towards their Knights, but HeroesHearth, they're no slouch here. They know Scouting Arrow will get the reveal.
They're coming in. Diablo in these chokes again. He's not stacked this early in the game. Dahaka, he's making his way down. We're getting these fights started early, Dread.
Yeah, it's going to go around the Knight, and it looks like that's enough of the commitment there. Abathur going towards bottom to try and make sure they could get a soak advantage. That is one of the biggest kind of cool plays you can make with Abathur compositions. You can feign interest in objective and truly make it that 4.5 versus 5. But then, you know, you immediately just go, okay, we weren't that interested, and you go, Abathur's making something, you know, somewhere else on the map or gaining a small advantage. Wasn't a big one in that situation, and definitely not one where I'd be like, ooh, look at this Abathur play, but, you know, signs of life there from HeroesHearth.
The little ones do add up over time. Cure, he's going to get the Siege Giant camp, although the Siege Giants Tribute will be spawning here in 45 seconds of the bot lane. It's one of the reasons why we saw Dahaka use that Brush Stalk early to make sure that he has that global advantage. He can stay in that top lane, come down as necessary, make sure to get as much of that matching experience as he can.
Tribute out, 30 seconds. The Giant camps for HeroesHearth Esports going to be timed very, very well on the opposite side of the map. Dahaka will do his best to be able to try and rid from those, but if they can find a way to force a skirmish or the tribute before that time frame where Dahaka gets a free clear, which is 30, 40 seconds out from now, the Abathur is going to be a pretty big problem. It's either going to lead to a free trib or experience advantage or a kill advantage, and in an ideal world, maybe a little bit of everything there.
This is Diablo's opportunity to shine. Somebody comes in, steps out one step too far. Then again, Genji still holding position mid. Siege Giants will help Abathur in the top lane here momentarily, and all the action, though, will be here in the bottom lane as Ishbu holding point. He's on that Blaze. Scatter Arrow coming in for one interrupt. Genji coming down. We have flipped and charged.
Jet Propulsion's going to come through. A lot of damage there from Crowan, setting a McIntyre for an easy Swift Strike reset there. No Karazim, and Octalysis has got to be second-guessing themselves, but they end up finding Crowan. Ridding of the Li Ming here. Arthwan goes in with that smite. Nice shadow charge from Justin, buys a bit of peel. Goku is just fine there as he ended up popping his passive. So far, it's going to be 1-for-1 between the two teams.
Every bit of time that you buy now, because Dahaka used that Brush Stalk, remember the Siege Giants are still up in the top. Those were not cleared out. McIntyre just barely dodges that wall. They're not trying to stall to get this tribute. They're trying to stall to get Abathur value McIntyre willing to commit quite a bit. He might have just committed his life. The Abathur hat's going to be in there. He has no mobility out.
Abathur's dead. Sonya caught him in the top lane, out too far with an Ancient Spear seismic slam over the wall. And now, what looked like a near-flawless opening to Tribute #1 on the side of HeroesHearth Esports. You have Giants up on top, Brushstock force on the bottom half of the map, and Abathur getting split soak has crumbled here. Octalysis is doing a great job, still trying to secure this Tribute, and Goku will find it.
That is, it's got to be a rough start because you almost have to play compositions like this perfectly, Dread. I mean, you look at the fact that you're running these support lists with the solo app there. Everybody's required to keep themselves alive. Everybody is required to do their part perfectly. And if any of that crumbles, the whole thing generally crumbles behind it. So they do have Mule. That's going to make up for a little bit of damage suffered up there at the top. But still a scary, scary spot for them to be in.
It's going to be interesting to see where we see these teams look to kind of make rotations when it comes to objectives. Night Camp's going to be started for HeroesHearth here over the next Shrine phase, or excuse me, Tribute. Tribute's on the bottom half of the map, so Giants would only be a rotational advantage for HeroesHearth. Last Tribute we did end up getting was on bottom, so we know that the third Tribute will be top left. So HeroesHearth can, at least in the back of their mind, know, hey, if we aren't going to get this one, at least it's, you know, advantageous for us to secure that Tribute afterwards. Beyond that point, it's going to be anybody's game.
Right now, the push going to be here in the middle. Stun going to follow up. Diablo pretty well stacked at this point, sitting on 80 stacks, so he's nice and beefy there on the front line. Diabolical Momentum, not getting that spell armor. Diabolical Momentum, obviously way too strong to get that cooldown reduction for a lot of players, so sometimes you just kind of wonder, like, do you go a little bit more tanky to make sure that you can deal with this all-in composition? But he's like, nah, I'm a playmaker.
Midnight's being dealt with now for Octalysis as Cure starts to channel Shadow Charge. Stun is going to force McIntyre to Swift Strike through. He ends up getting the interrupt there. Giants still whittling away on the bottom half, but Li Ming will be able to rid of those pretty easily as we see the Dahaka split push with the Abathur kind of conundrum, and Giants not on the top half, but still the trade-off on those two globals on the top half of the map for now.
10 is super close, Dreadnought, and it looks like Team Octalysis will get it first. See if Justin Goku coming in with the brush stock. There's going to be a big arrow for the stun. There's going to be one stun. That's going to be the first kill. No Sanctification here to save him. Ishbu puts down the bunkers. 10's picked up. I don't think he's making it out, though.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it out there. X-Strike goes in. McIntyre trying to save the day as 10s are here for HeroesHearth Esports, but they're already down 2 members. Cure ends up falling there to the clone from BBJ. Looking for more resets here with the double reset composition, but HeroesHearth Esports end up backing out here. Will we end up seeing a boss maybe kind of started in panic between these two teams? No boss started for HeroesHearth Esports. Just Tribute picked up now for Octalysis.
Hanzo is the ultimate boss taker here going into that. So
that's why I was wondering, for HeroesHearth in that situation, you go, okay, what is the next game plan for Octalysis? Pick up Tribute, question if they go to boss. If they start boss, they win boss so fast that I have to start it right now if I even want to compete with that. So it's like one of those bosses that you start and you just go, if they go for theirs, then we trade. If they keep contesting, we just walk away because we are more worried about Hanzo's race than we are worried about the actual boss.
It's so hard to really emphasize how important 1 second is, 2 second is in bosses like that, especially at the competitive level. And even in your own games, if you're going off saying, hey, I'm going to go finish this soak in the lane, it's probably better to make sure you go get that boss. You have that opportunity. The window is so small. Either way, no boss being contested here, but this is going to be Tribute number 3, potential curse point here for Team Octalysis.
Crone starts the channel. Justin moves up for interrupt 1. Brush shot coming out from Goku, lands the dragon to Li Ming. Sonya Ancient Spear comes through and the damage is there. Crone is dead before the fight even starts. Sanctification drops for HeroesHearth as they've got a bunker, but Ishbu is not going to be able to survive in that very long. Goku trying to kite out now, buy a bit of time, reset this fight. They get the heal, and this is when Octalysis move up and they're ready to get a curse.
Right now, BBJ, he'll have an interrupt. Arthalon and McIntyre trying to come around as well. There's the Swift Strike through. Clone almost expired, and at this point, I feel like it's just buying time, waiting for Li Ming to get back. Eldruin misses the mark onto Goku, forcing McIntyre to go in. We've seen what happens when that goes in. Ishbu, no bunker this time. He's going to go down. HeroesHearth, Dreadnought, starting to fall apart here.
Yeah, they are crumbling. They're under the pressure that Octalysis is putting on them. But McIntyre trying to go back in onto Goku, ends up X-striking over the wall to be able to survive there. The Giants have to be dealt with in this top lane as they will kind of make this, you know, top curse null and void for the time frame. Dahaka going to go ahead and rid of those, but this is now the moment for Octalysis to paint the map red, really open this thing up.
Fort walls down. They'll push forward. Everybody on Team Octalysis is under threat when Diablo and Justin are roaming around. They've had vision on that top right boss with Abathur Mines throughout most of the game. We'll see if that continues to be a factor. But right now, Octalysis, they're going to push down mid or top lane. I think that right now the response from HeroesHearth going to be way too slow, and this just enables any future boss play from here on out.
Siege still going to continue here on the top half. Ishbu maybe looking for a bit of punishment, knowing Dahaka's on mid. But without the 13s, they can't hard commit. Diablo's going to go in and initiate onto Arthalon. No sanctification when you're stun locked to death. And another kill here for Team Octalysis.
And they salvaged a bit, but I think with Tyrael down and now you've got the Dansky on the Hanzo, it's time to run over, get that boss, and now start to threaten the keep. You know that this is going to be a huge play because the threat of that taking the keep and any fight initiated by Diablo behind that fort, behind that keep, is very real and could potentially end this game. And HeroesHearth looking, this might be their last stand.
Boss started. It's going to fall pretty low here. Li Ming trying to poke and get a little bit of damage, but the setup's not going to be there. Drag pulls Ishbu a little bit away, but they go in. They try and buy the time. A lot of control there for a moment. Buds with the palm. It will not end up proccing. He has to dash out. HeroesHearth Esports still on the point, trying to contest.
There's one reset.
There's going to be two. Crowan is popping off here with 3 resets back to back. Sanctification and the Holy Ground come in, and HeroesHearth Esports hold on and take this boss.
Oh my God, that was unreal there. There was no Tyrael there until the very end, and Buds managing to dash out at the last minute, not proccing that. The discipline of HeroesHearth in that fight was insane. And now all of a sudden, Dreadnought, we are looking at a brand new ball game.
And this is going to be a boss now for HeroesHearth Esports. They got the top boss now sieging. The biggest thing here for them, the biggest setback, is the fact that the curse and the tributes are still dead even. HeroesHearth Esports have not gotten a single tribute to their name throughout the entirety of this game. Yes, they have temporary momentum into their favor. They will be able to get the experience in their control, but by no means is this GG. They have a lot still yet to kind of be gained.
And just imagine if they lose that boss, they could potentially be losing game. They were desperate, and right now, momentum, I think they needed that. That is a sigh of relief. They know that they have a little bit more time. That could have been the last call. But now, they've got time, they've got breathing room. There's still, as you said, no tributes on either side, but that can be a good and a bad thing if you're HeroesHearth. But I'd say right now, it's probably that sigh of relief is very much worth it.
They will be able to back out, get Knights and Giants, again, kind of set up the map however they would like. They're going to continue the siege with this 16 talent here with this boss. Other than getting about half the keep, I don't feel like there's going to be too much to be gained. This might be a moment where biting off more than you can chew, like we were talking about earlier, that happened in the last game with this style of composition. There is no death bridge, but it is very much punishable.
Okay, I was going to say, Dahaka was brush stalkering, but he's actually brush stalkering back for that tribute, and they know that he just used it, or they should know. There's going to be a big combo landed onto Cure. Bud's going to help support that. They're pinging the bush. They know that Dahaka could be a threat, but Dahaka's actually going to have to hearth back. We'll see if they know that. Cure going in, getting damage onto the boss. The big stun. Ishbu pops that Pyromania. He's coming in, trying to heal. Bunker's down. They want this keep. Dread.
Yeah, that bunker is very early, though, so much so that they might need it as there's an opportunity for an APOC combo. They end up getting the keep, and no punishment coming out from Octalysis with that cooldown because the 16 still not achieved for them. The tribute will spawn there in the bottom right over the next, or for the next tribute. But that will be, you know, a moment of relief there for Octalysis in the sense that they have a time advantage on top of that. So the biggest thing we got to be looking at here is these bosses. We have 2 minutes and 38 seconds out from the top right boss, 3 minutes and 20 from top left. So about a 40-second difference in favor of Octalysis' boss. That is a huge setback here for HeroesHearth.
Right now, they do have experience advantage, but the tributes will be spawning in time before anybody hits 20, or at least most likely, unless there is something major that happens between now and then. Next tribute phase, it could all turn right here as well. The arrow goes out, grants the vision, sees Arthalon in the bush. They're also trying to clear out any of those mines that are there. HeroesHearth starting to approach, looking to contest.
Buds kicks off this channel. Gonna get interrupted there by the mine. Drag lands onto Ishbu. Dragon's Arrow comes out onto Arthlon and the other front line there. Stun landing onto Arth. All the damage coming in. Sanctification makes it off though. And now here's the turn for HeroesHearth Esports. Arth has to take the Eldruins out here. Look at Justin. Goes in with the Shadow Charge. But Ishbu's gonna be the focus. They land the drag. The damage comes through and they end up getting it. X-Strike drops. McIntyre looking for the reset, but they cannot find it. Here comes BBJ with the clone. Will he be able to find those?
Crowan trying to see if he can get one reset. That's all he needs. The clone goes down, and now HeroesHearth forced to concede, forced to retreat. That fight started off so badly for HeroesHearth. It was crazy because the isolation actually hit onto Tyrael, but he was able to get that sanctification down just in time. Blaze the only one that falls there, but experience starting to creep back up in Octalysis' favor. Again, that timer that you mentioned just a moment ago, always got to be in consideration for that boss up at the top right. We're also looking at Curse Point. Again, what's the timer we've got now?
We're sitting at 110 for that top right boss there.
We're facing the same position of potentially Curse Boss. Yes. Curse Boss ends this game for Octalysis, barring they don't lose a couple of members in the middle of that. Even then,
the biggest, oh man, I was going to say silver lining is that the tribute could spawn late enough to where it's not going to be. The one thing that HeroesHearth can rely on is that they know where the members of Octalysis are going to be. There is no maybe. Are they taking our boss instead? Backdoor? Question marks going on. It very much is going to be this top fight. But if Octalysis is successful in this skirmish, it is very likely going to be game over for HeroesHearth Esports.
Yeah, losing just one member and then the clone, of course. That is 30 seconds. You can see the timer at the top right. Dansky on that Hanzo will absolutely annihilate that. He's got the scatter arrow. Plenty of poke here. Crony's going to try and force it. I don't know if that's the hero they want up there. Justin, you can see him lurking on the Diablo. Ishbu going to feign the channel here. It's going to be interrupted. He's going to continue to do this. Daka coming in for the Brush Stalker on the backside, Dread.
Brush Stalk comes in. Does he go for the drag? He lands it now on Ishbu. Cure, he's taking a lot of damage there, and Ishbu gets one shot before he gets it, but look at Hanzo. Hanzo actually drops in the backline. Sanctification is used. It's 1-for-1 between the teams. APOC goes off, but not going to connect. Bud's getting tracked down by McIntyre. No reset yet. Crowan trying to find it. They do.
They get it, Kron. He's trying to look for more. BBJ there goes down the clone. Two members down on the side of Team Octalysis. HeroesHearth is seemingly held again. They have Arthlon manning the front line. It looks like they're going to even this up, or at least gather a tribute. They also have the experience advantage. Now Catapult starting them out. Abathur starting to push. This is desperate times here for both teams. Cure, he's under assault. McIntyre going in. Justin's daring somebody to cross that line because he will go in. And now Justin, the primary target.
Holy Ground
is landed. He tries to shadow charge. Justin, he's trying to survive. Switch strike. Diablo goes down.
And he has no souls after this. He will end up being able to make it back in 5 seconds here. HeroesHearth and Team Octalysis will end up finding themselves in a position where there's another fight. But the biggest thing, J-How, bosses have spawned on both sides, and the rotation for HeroesHearth is miles faster here. The tribute comes up. Octalysis has to choose one or the other. They have the Hanzo. They have the race. J-How, we might be in a base race scenario.
This very much could be Hanzo and Dahaka. There, you can see them on the mini-map. They're trying to get theirs. The tribute down here at the bottom is Curse Point for Team Octalysis, but there is no keep in the bottom.
Octalysis can't take this boss. They needed to be already starting on the core. They need to be going
towards the
core and sidewalling and keeping. This is going to be a massive push towards the core. HeroesHearth Esports may be sending us to Game 5.
Level 20 is also close, and you know that they would love that holy arena, that extra armor off of that bunker. This could be the moment that decides it all. HeroesHearth coming in, trying to send us to a game number 5. Octalysis wants none of it. They are looking for a fight. They are looking for it now behind this boss. Can they take it?
Jet Propulsion comes in onto Justin, sets him low. Dragon's Arrow goes through. All the damage onto the backliner. McIntyre gets stunned out, but the damage is going to be there. The boss now marching towards the core. Justin falling low. He has no souls. And he goes down 60 seconds with no Diablo. And again, this boss still 70%. Dansky wailing away at it best he can. Goku taking a bit of damage, stalling out HeroesHearth Esports. They make it to the core, but the shielding is not removed by the boss yet, J-How.
It's not, and you can see
they hold.
Going in. They hold for now. BBJ, the clone, is down.
Ishbu,
get the hat on. He does, but that is going to be Blaze falling. That boss continuing to push up at the front. They cannot allow HeroesHearth to back here. The spear lands. He gets it. Crow, and he's trying to get out of here alive. He's doing everything he can. The boss still pushing. The boss. Here comes Buds.
The boss is still pushing, and this tribute's going to spawn in 20 seconds, which gives them the curse. They can end this game. Crowan doing his best to try and escape. Dansky takes the natural agility over the wall. Scattering arrow misses. Crowan, no mana, ends up getting the teleport. He will survive, but this is absolutely going to be that top keep and a curse for Octalysis.
They have 20. Both teams sitting on 20. Let's see if they wait to try and make the big play here. There's the channel. The boss will go down in time, but now desperate times here for both teams. HeroesHearth, they have their backs against the wall. 18 seconds before Blaze comes back. All members, we might see the push down here in the mid. Octalysis, this is not the aggression you would expect for a team saying that we are confident winning. Diablo, obviously, still lacking in souls. Sidewall is going to go down. They're going to push in here. This is minimum keep, but they are going to see if they can get much, much more. And that is the core, and that is their spot to Sweden.
Octalysis siege up. Goku zoning off at that sidewall. Looking to get work here. Front gate's going to drop down. Just wait for that Dragon's Arrow initiation. Look at Arthlon on the side, looking for a Holy Ground spit. They want that dive onto the backline. Ishbu hits a jet propulsion onto Goku, falling pretty low. Cure looking for the damage, focused onto Arthlon now in the backline. Has the Holy Ground and Sanctification. APOC is used by Justin, not going to connect there. McIntyre looking for a bit of the reset. Excuse me, BBJ there on the clone. Dainsky falls low. That palm is definitely not going to get proc. That's a cooldown down.
Yeah, he did not go the repose at level 20. He only has Spell Shield. This is going to be keep number 2 falling.
And that's all that's going to fall during this, J-How. That is only one keep for a late game curse.
And HeroesHearth, they're still one fight away. Both teams are now one fight away from potentially ending this game. Arthlon, he's going to go over. We might have another fight right here. Holy Ground, you know that's going to buy time. Ishbu, he's going to go in. They're turning their attention towards Justin the stun. Can they get the reset?
He has to use the Hellgate just to get the escape. Now Cure goes back in. He's on a different page from the rest of the team. Dragon's Arrow comes in. Everybody on the side of Octalysis here panicked. Jet Propulsion comes back through. Justin gets the reinitiation. Then they throw it on the bunker, cutting off the escape. Justin swimming through the members of HeroesHearth Esports, and he ends up falling. Now Cure and friends go to the core. They're going to backdoor.
There's no way. There's no way. They have to be able to keep an eye on this. They got to get control of vision. They're now trying to dip out of here. Arthlon, he's identified this. Dahaka, he's still hanging in the bush. Let's see if he gets the drag.
He has to brush stock. He has to brush stock out. I don't know if he has a cooldown, but Crowan gets cut out.
Now Ishbu, he's trying to survive. He gets the Abathur head. He's trying to live. The 2v1 down here. Goku, let's see if they can get it. There's going to be the tunneling claws. Holy Ground is there.
Oh my goodness.
Does he? He does not. There's going to be McIntyre. He's got the reset. He already used it. Uses the agility over the wall. Arthlon still stuck in the middle here. Ishbu coming in.
The Ancient Spear missed, and now BBJ coming in with the Ultimate Evolution reset onto Dainsky, but the palm ends up landing here.
But
Octalysis. Buds is going to get tracked down. He ends up going down, giving no reset there, as that is only to BBJ. And look at Arthlon into 1v1 with Cure. He ends up surviving, dropping the Sanctification. Octalysis is down 2 members for 30 more
What's our bosses at? What's our bosses at?
It's got to be like a minute and a half.
It's got to be 40 seconds, which means that HeroesHearth has got to be spawned. Okay, 35 seconds away. There is so much going on right now. I have no idea what is happening. We're 21 minutes in. This tribute is cursed if they want it, but I don't know if this is what they want. They're going to get Siege Giants up at the top. That buys them that buys them the pressure. Yes, it buys them the pressure to push against that top lane. They can see the back door. They can push against the catapults that could be ending. So there's so much to be said. Boss here. Again, Holy Ground, still a major play.
Yo, the biggest play here is the fact that Hanzo can backdoor bottom boss if he would like, somehow with a cheeky play, because Curse is not the win condition. It's the question is, whoever ends up getting the boss ends up winning this game. That is the win condition. Curse is a problem. Boss is GG's. Tribute given over. McIntyre, pick it up. Look at, you see Octalysis. They're asking, can we start this boss on the bottom half? Are they on the boss? They need to figure out this information. Arthlon and Crowan show in mid. I think Genji gave a little bit of information on the top half, so Octalysis
Blaze is very far out. Blaze is in the middle of this. Goku, the jet propulsion, buys a little bit of time because you know that tongue is going to land. Goku's still looking for it, just misses.
Goku.
Arthlon coming in from behind as well. He's gonna find somebody in that bush. He's got to be very careful. Justin is just lurking here. Crowan out as well. They are fighting right in the middle of the battleground. Gentlemen, this is not 30 seconds into the game. This is 23 minutes in.
Octalysis is going to get slowed. Genji has to back out to deal with the Giants on the top half, so there is a information advantage in favor of Octalysis here if they'd like to pull the trigger there. Eventually having to back out and deal with that. Dainsky's time of getting to a boss is going to be, I think, the thing that decides this game for Octalysis. It's either going to be the reason they're able to take a boss within a time frame to be able
They're going in. They see Sonya at the bottom. They're trying to steal the top boss.
They're going to be able to pick it up.
They're going to try it.
Way too slow. Way too slow. There is no way they do this. HeroesHearth Esports is going to annihilate this boss within
But there's
time
no
frame.
guarantee that this ends. There's still a keep up at the top.
But that's the thing, the boss on the bottom half does not end the game either, and so because of that,
take away the win condition.
The win condition is there for HeroesHearth, and it is not there for Octalysis
They're going in.
all.
They're going in. They're going to try and open this up, soften it up just a little bit. You can see the Hearthing back. They're afraid of potentially the back door.
They have to be, because that's the only way Octalysis can win this game. Octalysis has to all...
Because they can path right through mid. They're doing it. They're looking at it right now.
So close.
They've got to get back. And this late in the game, we're talking about level 22. They're going in. They have the spell armor. They are going in here. The mine has identified it. But now all members of HeroesHearth will be backing. Dahaka's trying to get the interrupt. Dahaka has delayed them, Dreadnought.
The APOC, now they got the Dragon's Arrow across the map to deal with it. They're going to go for the game. Octalysis is looking for the all-in here on the core as the Dragon Arrow lands. Hellgate goes down 90% and counting. The Palm ends up landing Arthlon trying to defend. They
Two members down!
Wiping 90, or excuse me, 60%.
They've held!
They hold off this game in J-How. After all of that, HeroesHearth Esports will be sending us to a game number 5.
Oh my God. What in the world? HeroesHearth has held on here in the most improbable of scenarios. The late game shot calling. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Heroes of the Storm at its finest.
Oh, it was just, I mean, the chaos ensued.